Hi, welcome to a new film recapped. Today we will watch A Knight's Tale. Enjoy! Even though only knights are permitted to participate, jousting has grown to be the most popular sport in Europe in the 14th century, enjoyed by both nobility and the poor. Squires William, Roland, and Wat discover their liege Sir Ector dead one day following some minor injuries sustained during a jousting competition. They lose their jobs as a result of this, which is clearly bad news, but they also need money badly because they haven't eaten in 3 days. William has an idea. Because the tournament organizers are still unaware of Ector's passing, he will pose as Ector and complete the competition. He has always aspired to be a jousting knight and has assisted Ector in his earlier fighting training. No one will be able to notice the difference if the helmet is worn at all times. Although Wat and Roland are initially not the biggest fans of the plan, they both decide to assist and watch what unfolds. William stuns everyone by winning the event with ease and taking home a pricey gold feather as a reward. The three of them split the profits equally after selling the feather. William, however, has an idea and retrieves the money, leaving his friends with just 1 cent apiece. He believes they can continue the charade and win, thus the funds should be used to buy gear that will help them win even more. Roland and Wat disagree with the concept and even battle William to recoup their money, but William perseveres and eventually wins over their better natures to his aid. In the lead up to the next competition, the three of them purchase new gear and dedicate themselves to intense training so that William doesn't miss a single hit. They're on their way to the closest competition a month later when they come upon a nude man. It's the well-known author Geoffrey Chaucer, who has just been mugged. William poses as Sir Ulrich, but Geoffrey knows better and makes a trade-off. In exchange for sharing some food and clothing, he would create a fake nobleman's passport, which William may use to enter the next tournament. Wat makes careful to threaten Geoffrey with harsh violence if he dares to betray them. The trio is reluctant to trust Geoffrey, but they have little choice but to accept the agreement. They are relieved to learn that the organizers have accepted their fictitious patent of nobility when they arrive in town, and William chooses to appoint Geoffrey as his herald. William spots Lady Jocelyn in the crowd while he is waiting his turn and falls in love with her right away. He follows her throughout town because he wants to speak to her, but she refuses to disclose her name. When Jocelyn eventually enters the church, William eventually is ejected for trying to do the same while still mounted on a horse. After that, William wins his first fight handily, but he's beginning to have concerns about the condition of his armor. The individuals in charge of the local gaming circuit abruptly interrupt him and demand payment for their employee. As it happens, Geoffrey has a gambling problem and was never robbed. He also faces certain death if his liege fails to make payments. William urges the men to let Geoffrey go, ignoring Wat's indignant response, and promises to pay once he wins the tournament. William then participates in the sword fights and wins there as well, allowing Geoffrey to use his artistic wordplay to promote William to the general public. William's ability is demonstrated when he triumphs in the sword tournament, allowing him to return to the jousting battles. He is also winning there, but when his armor is damaged, none of the blacksmiths will repair it for free. Not even blacksmith Kate will attempt it, but William, having heard what the other blacksmiths think of a female blacksmith, persuades her to mend his armor by hinting that the other blacksmiths doubted her ability simply because she is a female. Jocelyn and her lady-in-waiting Christiana are among those watching the jousting events when Count Adhemar, the reigning jousting champion, approaches them. Count Adhemar is charmed by Jocelyn. Following his boasts about his army's present battle in France and his unwavering horseback riding record, Adhemar gives Jocelyn an explanation of the rules of jousting, emphasizing that different hits carry varying point values. William stops them in their tracks as he approaches Jocelyn to show her some poetry that Geoffrey recently taught him. William must depart in embarrassment after Adhemar humiliates him in front of everyone. With significant glory, Geoffrey reveals William before the next match, building tales of his heroic achievements. Though he acknowledges that not properly shielding his eyes makes him fearless, Adhemar tells Jocelyn that William lacks style and technique despite his amazing fighting skills. Although William's opponent is injured and aware that he has already lost, he still wants to end the battle with honor and tact because he has never failed to finish a match. William, feeling sorry for him, concedes this, and their final run ends in a purposeful tie. When the opponent retreats, William moves forward. Jocelyn views William's failure to finish his opponent as a wonderful act of kindness, while Adhemar believes it weakens William. Jocelyn doesn't care that Adhemar wins things for his ego and that he prefers women to stay silent when he texts her later in the evening stating he'll win this tournament for her. The fact that William is the only knight who hasn't pledged to win for her has more of an impact on her than anything else, so perhaps she will let him win her heart. The following day, Jocelyn gives William her pashmina as a lucky charm and even lets Christiana tell him her name for the first time. In his last match, William faces Adhemar. Although he leads the match in the beginning, Adhemar chooses to finish William by taking advantage of his failure to shield his face and hitting him in the head, knocking him unconscious. William recalls, in his unconscious state, his early years spent admiring knights and dreaming of becoming one. While the majority of people believed that a peasant could never succeed, his father John urged him to follow his aspirations. William wakes up to find Adhemar has picked up Jocelyn's pashmina. Before giving it to her, he challenges William to go look for him once he has more training. William nevertheless prevailed in the sword tournament, earning a sizable reward that enables him to pay off Kate and the gamblers. Speaking of Kate, she offers to build William a new armor in exchange for them transporting her to Paris, pointing out that he has been wearing armor that wasn't intended for him. Jocelyn wants to wear his colors, so Christiana goes there to make sure William will attend the banquet. William declines her, wanting to get out of there. William soon decides rather to go after hearing this, and he announces that he will be wearing green. The group then starts to work, with Roland getting William's clothes ready and Geoffrey teaching him how to dance. Unfortunately, the classes aren't going well, so William apologizes to Kate and persuades her to give them better instruction when she discovers them fighting. William has the opportunity to speak with Jocelyn and read more poetry to her throughout the feast. Adhemar makes another attempt to make him feel inferior by implying that he can only dance like a peasant from the country, but William impresses Adhemar with his dance movements and eases into the dance party. The following day, Kate has specially made armor for William, complete with her own emblem. William is dubious because he believes the armor is too small and light, but Kate explains that she has discovered a new method for reheating metal, which makes the armor stronger but still seems lighter to wear. The men don't think she's telling the truth, so they try her. They are amazed when William is struck and doesn't feel a thing. William enters another competition a week later. People make fun of his little, thin armor, but he rapidly disproves their assumptions by winning his first fight handily. Adhemar has arrived to take part as well as Jocelyn, who is observing, but he leaves when he discovers that Prince Edward is actually his opponent. When Geoffrey learns of this, he suggests William to follow example in order to avoid conflict with the king. However, William decides to fight Edward while seeing how dissatisfied Edward is that no one is willing to battle him. William informs Edward in between runs, says that he knows who he is, and Edward is amazed that he chooses to ride against a prince despite this knowledge. William triumphs in the competition, but he is not happy about it as he was not able to defeat Adhemar. When Jocelyn comes over to extend an invitation to the dinner, he snaps at her because of this, and she becomes offended and thinks he's a cunt. William keeps competing and winning tournaments for weeks on end, but he is still unable to face Adhemar since he was called up to the Battle of Poitiers. Adhemar, however, continues to inquire about the tournaments even in the midst of the conflict, becoming angrier when he discovers William is winning every one of them. After a month of not seeing Jocelyn, William decides to try to win her back with a letter. Since William struggles with language, Geoffrey fills it with his own poetry and their friends' sentiments about past romances. Wat is in responsibility of delivering the letter to Jocelyn, who finds herself in tears of admiration at such tender words. The following day, Wat comes back to the group bearing a message for William from Jocelyn. She will travel to Paris to watch him joust and gives him a quick peck on the lips to wish him luck. Afterwards, Geoffrey says they could take a chance on William winning since Adhemar won't be competing in this event either. Jocelyn and William meet at the nearby church in the interim. Jocelyn, however, is swiftly let down because she was hoping for more poetry. Instead, William makes the usual vows that knights make, promising to win the tournament on her behalf. Jocelyn, fed up with this act, issues him a challenge. William has to lose in her honor if he wishes to demonstrate his love for her. William storms out of the church in rage, determined not to be a loser. But as soon as the competition starts, William has a change of heart and starts intentionally losing. William disregards his friends' criticism, who believe he is crazy for being upset about a woman and concerned about their bets. Luckily, his persistence pays off. In between matches, Jocelyn sends Christiana to inform William that he ought to win the tournament on her behalf since she now feels that his love is genuine. William succeeds in doing so, giving Geoffrey a large bag of money in exchange for his wagers. Jocelyn pays William a visit in his tent in the evening as he was too injured to attend the feast. After hearing his companions converse, Jocelyn admits that she has discovered his true name. However, she also states that she doesn't give a damn about his origins, and the two of them spend the night together. A few days later, the team leaves for the World Championship in London. For William, it's been 12 long years since he was last here, although the majority of them had only been gone for a few months or even years. He vividly recalls the last day. When he was still a young child, John took him to Ector to serve as his squire, ready to give up his son so that he could have a future. John promised that all William needed to do was follow his steps, allaying William's fear that he would forget how to get home. William marches with the other knights at the tournament opening and takes pleasure in the adoration he receives from onlookers, who even recognize him in the children who sing his name. Naturally, Jocelyn has come to watch him joust, and Adhemar has at last returned to competition. He claims to have already started talks with Jocelyn's father about getting married, and he vows to beat William mercilessly in order to get her. William returns to his former neighborhood after winning all of his matches on the first day. He locates his dad with the aid of a young admirer. His dad has gone blind. William initially presents himself as Ulrich, delivering John a message from his son. However, John soon recognizes William as his own and grins with pride. Unaware that Adhemar has been following William and is now observing them from a distance, father and son swap memories over drinks after giving each other a hug and crying a lot. Jocelyn and Geoffrey arrive the following morning as William is preparing for the tournament with some unsettling news. Adhemar has discovered who he really is and is currently waiting with a dozen royal guards to have him arrested in front of everyone. Jocelyn concurs with his friend's desire for William to flee, stating that she wouldn't mind living in poverty as long as they were together. William, on the other hand, makes the decision to stay and marches into the arena with his colleagues at his side and his head held high, refusing to let them steal his pride. William is naturally caught and taken to jail right away. Adhemar arrives to take advantage of the circumstances, striking William repeatedly while calling him names and making fun of him. William is ultimately put on the guillotine, and his companions encircle him in an attempt to protect him from the hostile gathering that is hurling vegetables at him. Prince Edward abruptly ends this confrontation by referring to William as a true knight because of his honor and mercy. Edward says that his historians have discovered the boy's ancestry from an old noble family and immediately knights him, formally calling him Sir William, after giving the guards the order to free William. The prince and princess are now present for the remainder of the tournament, but Jocelyn is nowhere to be seen. William and Adhemar will square off in the championship fight, but things don't go according to plan. Adhemar is a dishonest jerk who stabs William in the shoulder with a lance that was illegally sharpened. William can hardly hold the lance anymore due to his severe injuries, which gives Adhemar numerous bonus points. Adhemar keeps making fun of him as well, but William finds hope as he witnesses Jocelyn and John come. William, who is determined to win at any costs, chooses to remove his armor in order to breathe easier and asks Wat to fasten the lance to his arm. Geoffrey gives one more speech to energize the audience before the last run, telling them that a commoner will overcome a noble today. This is his attempt at making up for not having done an introduction. William can only unhorse Adhemar in order to win this match due to the point differential. Even though it's the hardest jousting maneuver, William is unstoppable and rides while yelling his true name as he strikes Adhemar with his lance. William wins the world championship as Adhemar is knocked down by his accurate technique. While Jocelyn meets William in the middle of the arena to celebrate with a kiss and John sheds tears of happiness, Geoffrey decides to compose a piece about William's ascent to knighthood. The Canterbury Tales' first short narrative would be this one. Subscribe for more movies.